biracial boys and a biracial daughter, but even how my sons are reacting and how my daughter's reacting. It's very, very, it's very, you know, interesting, and sometimes it's really painful to watch this. As an educator, so I teach here, but I also do a lot of consulting, and I do a lot of work with an instrument called the IDI, the Intercultural Development Inventory. And so I work predominantly with white people with this tool. And one of the contexting questions that I work with individuals, I ask them to think about, you know, what is your culture? So whatever the person's name, Sally, how would you define your culture, and then the culture of the other that you were navigating with this assessment? And I realize, and I've done this assessment now probably about 300 times with different people in coaching, it's the first time for many white people that they have ever had to think about, what does it look like? What does my culture? Almost always, I have to really strategically help them unpack that, of what that looks like. And I've been doing this now probably for about 2 years, but it's probably been one of the most, I'm very grateful that God has given me this opportunity to be with people, because it's I've had lots of tears, and I don't work with students, I'm working with usually executives in organizations, but it's kind of the first time for many of them to really take this and talk and think about not only how their culture, race, how their identity is for them personally. So it's a part of my story.
I grew up down in Vicksburg, Mississippi, and in my hometown there was a valley called Marcus Bottom that we had to drive through every day. And as you go down the hill into the bottom, you would see poor African Americans, while up on the high hill were the rich whites. And I understood that this was a great injustice, but it was hard to do something about it. We used to go to Virginia Beach for our summer week vacation, and my Uncle Robbie, my dad's only brother, we'd go swimming in the ocean. I always liked swimming with the salt water and the jellyfish early in the morning. I was very close to Uncle Robbie. Well, when I was 13, my dad received a phone call that my Uncle Robbie had committed suicide. So my father Sam said, "Peter, can you come with me to Richmond, Virginia?" I went up there, I saw the funeral, including my Aunt Janet in black crying about her husband's loss. I felt really sad. And actually went into this phase where people were like, are you a Christian? Do you believe in God? And I would say, no, I'm an atheist. I still had to go to church every Sunday, because down south, you don't have an option. You just go to church, whether you like to or not, sit on the family pew, whether you're feeling it or not. But when I was 15, I went to this denominational church camp. I'm a 5th generation member of the Christian Church Disciples of Christ. My mother, Ann Fraser, held some Scottish, so I kind of got that Scottish Reformation disciples heritage there. I found the Lord crying out to God under the oak trees in the star-filled sky in Morton, Mississippi, saying, "Are you really out there, God?" And I felt God's Spirit come over me from the crown of my head to the soles of my feet, and I was like, okay, I got this. The next Sunday they said, do you accept Jesus? Come forward. I did. Got dunked in the water and in the fire, and that kind of launched me into ministry. But I was like, this is an all-white camp. Why are the African Americans meeting in another camp? And wanted to try to desegregate the camping system. And as a leader and organizer, it was an unsuccessful attempt. Now, when I graduated, I did 2 years of missionary work in Mexico, China, went to Wheaton, and went to Zimbabwe with this Human Needs and Global Resources program. So I want to reaffirm, this summer, and especially in semester abroad programs, definitely travel, especially to the developing world. I was in Zimbabwe and doing a farming and agricultural development project. And in that experience, I got really sick, and I was up on the high hill in this like little cabin, and I was sick for about 2 weeks. And then one day I heard this singing like, "Dem song, hallelujah, dem song, amen, dem song, hallelujah, dem song, amen. I love Jesus. You love Jesus. We love Jesus. And so, amen." And then there were about 14 African farmers praying on me, and I felt God's Spirit come over me. And I don't know what happened, but when they stopped praying, they said, "How do you feel?"